why do they call you Mr. Checkpoint? Let's go there first.
2011, I heard that checkpoints were being used to target Hispanics in residential neighborhoods. They would call them DUI checkpoints, but they would tow 40 plus cars in a night. I find checkpoints unconstitutional. And well, one, I believe they should be publicized anyway per the right of the citizens in regards to the legality of checkpoints. And so I started using social media, Twitter, at Mr. Checkpoint, and shared these checkpoint locations.
How do you get the checkpoint locations? How do you know where they are?
That's a good question. It's a lot of departments. LAPD, for example, they would send me, specifically the checkpoint information to then publicize to the people. The idea is that well-publicized checkpoints helps prevent drunk driving. Now, do some departments use things that are intended for good for bad? Yeah, I've found many departments that would never disclose checkpoint locations and would then be using these in ways that I thought was unconstitutional. And that was my intention of publicizing them. And since that time, I would work with companies like Uber and Lyft and be able to get a lot of people to make sure that they get home responsibly from these notifications.
Now, it sounds like from what you're saying, when you say the LAPD would send you a list of checkpoints, it kind of sounds like you're working with the police. Is that true or false?
Not working with them, but hey, when they'll send me there's checkpoints at these addresses, I'm happy to share that information with the public. A lot of times that stuff is spread in morning news. I knew that at 21 years old, I wasn't watching the morning news and that I was on Twitter and Facebook. And if that information could be there, I knew it was best served.
And so I also have to say that you rely a lot on the Constitution.
Absolutely. 100%. I feel that as an American citizen, the Constitution is what's supposed to hold us all together under one nation. We're unlike any other country. We don't all look the same. We don't, what really should be that Constitution. And I found my purpose with Mr. Checkpoint is to find people who don't feel that freedom with that document and try to help shine a light on it and share any information I could to help even that playing field that I think is so unfair.
Right. And the thing about the Constitution that Black people have a problem with is that we don't believe that it belongs to us. So when we hear you say Constitution and we're looking at you and you appear to be white, I could be wrong, no?
I mean, my mom's Russian and my dad is French. I'm Jewish, but my skin is certainly color of white without question. Yeah.
And so it would seem that you wouldn't have the same experiences with Black men when it comes to the police. Would that be true or false?
I would have absolutely different experiences. I have hundreds of encounters, I don't know, maybe thousands of encounters with police that I am certain that if my skin color was brown or Black, that I would not have those encounters or I would not be alive today. I personally I've turned Mr. Checkpoint, as you'll see, AFTP, it's always filmed the police. And that was from a personal experience I had. For me, I found that the best way for an officer to treat me like I'm brown or Black is to start exercising my rights. That's been my experience of being treated unjustly and unfairly is when I start standing up for my rights. But I know that I've been pulled over and given a ticket and I wasn't even asked one question from the officer. Not one. I handed him my license and registration. He took it. He gave me a ticket. I signed it and he left. And I don't think that's an experience that many people face that don't have the skin color of mine.
And I found this thing that you did on your Instagram page fascinating, Mr. Checkpoint. And let me tell you what it was. You literally were walking up to officers, police officers, and asking them where their body camera was. And when I saw you walking up to them going, where's your body camera? Where do you put it? How do you use it? Is it on? Is it off? I was cringing. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna get him. And then I was like, oh, but he white. They ain't gonna do nothing to him. And they didn't do anything to you, but you did get some knowledge from those body cameras. So can you share with people the body camera knowledge that you gained from officers?
Yeah, it's that, when they're on duty, it's supposed to be on standby. That would, on the particular body cameras that I put on my Instagram, right? And I show how it kind of shows red. When they want to turn it on, they tap the screen and then it is supposed to pre-record, as I understand, 2 minutes before. I found many, many, many officers without their body cameras even on standby. And yeah, I would be yelling and hollering, telling them that that should be on. And someone has to do it. I understand that one, a lot of people wouldn't feel safe doing that.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I would never expect or want someone to feel unsafe and do that. And it's not comfortable for me. Like, I'm like nervous. It's, I wouldn't have the drive and passion for this if I truly didn't have a sense of feeling that is really real and uncomfortable in the situation. And that's in a lot of ways what drives me to keep exposing and sharing. And I think it's important for the public to see someone, anyone, a human, just ask officers questions and to know that this is feasible. Like, this is possible. And again, don't do it if you're not comfortable, but it's a dialogue that I think should be shown more and more,
Yeah,
especially
what
to
was
the,
interesting to me is I'm not sure if they knew they were on camera or not, but you asked one of the officers, what is the policy of the body cam? And he said, well, we don't know. We don't read that shit.
said, we don't read it. You can't make this up. These are people paid by us to protect and serve us. I mean, you would think that he works for us, and that would be like, you would never say that. I mean, no employer would ever say that to their boss or someone they want to serve.
Yeah, it was interesting. So just for clarity, what does it look like when the body cam is supposed to be on?
I wish
Red?
I had a better answer because when it's on and like recording, you don't actually know, but you for sure want it to be switched red. On this particular one I have, and I don't even like sharing that info because I think there could be so many, and I don't want to give info to someone seeing a body cam and it's not red. But I am specific when I share a particular one and I ask the questions, and I'm just a guy asking questions, for real. And so I don't really know all of these answers.
So always film the police. You yourself have won a $70,000 lawsuit against the Santa Monica police. Talk about that experience.
Yeah, I was pulled over. I made a right on a red, which I shouldn't have done. And when the officer says, will you follow my finger? In California law, you do not have to follow the finger. This is a test that's going to be left to the officer's opinion. And I don't do any test that I don't legally have to do that is left to the opinion of the officer. So when he said follow the finger and I said no, he then says, I'm going to take you to jail for DUI. And that's maybe a quote, right? And that's what happens. I end up getting out of the car. He searches the car. He finds pills in the car, Oxycontin prescribed to me. He then says, instead, and then he puts in the police report, I'm on the pills. I have to get my blood taken. I go to the hospital. Then I go to the jail. I spend the night. My car is towed. My dog's with me, went to the pound. The blood came back 3 months later and it was clean. So no DUI was filed against me. And I hired a lawyer, and I remember she went to the department and said, give him 10 grand. And they were like, what? He's Mr. Checkpoint. We're going to go after, like, he's not in the, and, they really just tried to make me look like a bad person. Turns out I had all the support of a bunch of police departments and all of these things. And then, of course, when you submit that, they go, well, the fact he's Mr. Checkpoint isn't relevant. Of course it's not, right? The fact is they just really try to defend. And it's sad when you go to the city and you have like prosecutors and people that are supposed to work for the city and you feel like they're all working against you. They ended up writing me a check for $70,000. And I shared that on YouTube. It has millions of views. And the number one thing I get all the time is, this happened to me. Something like this happened to me. Did you film it? No. We all know what FTP originally stands for, but is this productive? We have a freedom of speech and a right to say, and it's real, and it's a real message. But I think always filming the police helps make those 4 words, I think, are the most productive things we can do as a people to make police transparent overnight in this country.
And because you didn't actually film the police in that particular instance, you recorded the audio of the conversation. How did that help you?
Yeah, great question. So I never suggest people, especially when pulled over, and especially if you're nervous, and this, I believe every skin color can do this. When you're pulled over, I wasn't holding my phone. I always lock my phone. And so I have an iPhone, I swipe right. This is now being filmed from the lock screen. I hit video and I put the phone down. The point is, if the officer then deletes this video, goes in my phone, goes here, deletes the video, he sees it, this will be in my archived folder. I don't use thumbprint and I don't use facial recognition. I know we have rights. They're not supposed to go on the phone, but I believe if officers can do something, they may, whether it's our right or not. And so I don't use anything other than a code. We have a Fifth Amendment right to never incriminate ourselves, and you would
Right.
never legally have to say the code. But if they got a warrant into your phone, they could legally force your finger on the code.
Or for
So,
her face.
or they could force it, but they can't legally force you to say a code. So this to me is an important distinction. Anyways, my video, it was face down. It was of like the lights, if I'm not mistaken. It was just audio, and that was good enough. The officer said that I was antagonistic. I had slurred speech, all of these things, and the judge heard the audio and said, no, the officer was antagonistic. And so that was the importance of the video. And a lot of times people say, I'm scared to video. The officer didn't let me video. No, you didn't do it right. Before you pull over, safely record, put the phone down and forget like it's there. Before you pull over, record. If you're a passenger in a car, I think you have a duty as like the patriotic duty to film if you're a passenger, right? Like you got no problems. Everyone in the car should be filming. So
Everybody in the car should be filming. Yes.
everybody.
Is it true that you have an app that can tell you if the police officers are bad cops or good cops?
Well, I have an app that I get hundreds of DMs a day. I made an app that is an extension of my direct messages. And what is in my direct messages? It's look at this video that happened, right? The app allows you to upload all of these videos. Just like when we get food, we take photos and we put it on Yelp, then we start reviewing. Now we can upload all of these videos. We can tag police departments, officers' names, badge numbers. I'm told that this is potentially the largest and most active database of user-generated content of police interactions in the country. People are viewing and rating these interactions 1 to 5 stars. It also has a component like, and they call it like Yelp for police, right?
Yeah.
But it also has a component like Waze, but you don't need to be driving. You could be at a friend's house and know that ICE, immigration, is 2 miles down the road, or that there's police and helicopters over there. You'll get all these notifications, and it's not about driving, it's about police transparency. And that's really been the goal of the app. And it's gotten a lot of attention recently as more people.
What is the app?
Mr. Checkpoint.
So that's the actual app, Mr. Checkpoint.
That's the actual app. It has over 1,000 5-star reviews on Apple, iTunes, and Google Play. People every day are uploading videos and interactions. And, you know, there's just awful, I mean, there's positive videos too. The goal is to always film the police is transparency, right? So if cops do good, we want to know. But I will say that it's not my job to be PR for the police. I want to be real. And the videos that I'm getting are very real, very raw, and oftentimes incredibly disturbing.